That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to reveal our top 10 favorite films of 2021.
Yes.
And we each have a separate list.
We do. But you only have 10.
Yes.
There are no ties.
There are no ties.
I'm very surprised.
Well, there you go.
You deserve a treat.
Okay, well, we'll see about that after filming, and someone gets nasty when he's not on camera.
Are you not safe at home?
I'm fine. For Ion Cinema, I'll have a top 20 plus...
Social services is going to press the ring on our door.
I'm a grown-ass man. We don't have... social services is not needed. And a top 10 undistributed list of 2021.
Oh, so you have 20?
Technically 30, but not that we will be discussing today. But I find it funny, you had some YouTube channel on the other day, and some kid was complaining about how he'd watched 60 new releases of this film. Girl, I watch like 600 films a year. So this is parsed through.
Ridiculous, excessive. I mean, tomato. So 2021 was a good year for film.
It was.
Better than 2020.
Yeah, because 2020 was, we were all stuck at home, and you could sense that a lot of items were being held back for when people could actually see them in the theater. Although the landscape with VOD is still, remarkably changed. I think your top 10 list will reflect that a bit more than mine.
Oh, shade, but yes. And then the video is titled Best Of, but really it's like favorites.
It's favorites.
And which is a combination of quality and I think entertainment value, what had the most impact.
What's transporting me to another time and place.
Because there are films I think are excellent that I just didn't enjoy. And one on my list is an example of that.
Sure. But I mean, if you were to see my top 20, things like Licorice Pizza would be there, because I did really like, or Titan, that technically is my number 11 pick, if you must know.
He just threw in another one. Okay. So let's start with number 10.
Yours.
Mine is a movie called France, directed by
Bruno Dumont,
starring
Léa Seydoux.
This is the example of a film I didn't enjoy the experience of, but I think it's more of like a piece of art, and I think the commentary is very well done, and there's a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a slick piece of filmmaking.
And I was quoted on the Blu-ray cover.
And Nick is quoted on the Blu-ray cover, yes.
But I will reserve my thoughts for that.
Oh, so it's on your list, I guess. What's your number 10?
My number 10 film is Wheel of Fortune and Fantasy, directed by Ryûsuke Hamaguchi, that premiered at the 2021 Berlin Film Festival. I believe it won the second place prize. Hamaguchi, he's gotten a lot more steam this year he had 2 films come out this year for Drive My Car, which is based on a Murakami short story. That I think won Best Screenplay at Cannes and is picking up a raft of awards, and that you'll probably see on a lot more top 10 lists. And it is excellent. But the edge for those 2 films is Wheel of Fortune and Fantasy, which is a triptych of 3 different stories centered around women. One of them is kind of set in the future. It's very touching and very poignant and very Hamaguchi. I highly, highly recommend it.
Number 9. Mine is Little Fish.
Directed by Chad Hartigan.
Starring the guy from 50 Shades of Grey.
Jack O'Connell is not in 50 Shades of Grey.
Jack O'Connell. Jamie Dornan.
Oh, Jamie Dornan's in Little Fish?
He's the main guy in Little Fish.
I don't think that's right.
Am I mistaken?
I think you're mistaken.
I do remember this movie.
And Olivia Cook.
Which is ironic because the movie's about memory loss.
You kind of remember this movie. Jamie Dornan is not in.
He's not the main guy?
No.
Oh, wow. Oh, I wanted to add, for most of the selections we have on our lists, we have full reviews of them. So for the ones we do, I'll put links in the description of this video. We have a video for Little Fish. So I'm not pretending. I really did enjoy this one. It's about a virus, not unlike COVID, but the side effects are memory loss and ultimately death. So it's kind of like Alzheimer's. I just thought it was a beautiful love story, which is interesting because I'm not a very romantic person. And I think a lot of it spoke to me because the female lead who's in a relationship with the male lead, she's having to deal with his memory loss and how it affects her, obviously. and all the little things she does feel very familiar to me.
Same.
But I thought it was a really well done film.
It is, and I do recommend, if you do like Little Fish, it reminds me of a David Mackenzie movie that I really liked called Perfect Sense with Ewan McGregor and Ava Green.
Also in 2021, people had, couldn't fight the urge to make sort of like COVID related type films. And I think this is a smart...
This was shot before that.
Oh, it was? Oh, even better. But so that makes sense because I feel like it's not... Even though it's about a virus, it doesn't feel like it's something akin to COVID.
Sure.
Oh, well, so that makes sense. What's your number 9?
My number 9 is Bad Luck Banging, or Loony Porn, which won the Golden Bear at Berlin last year. I tried to get you to watch it. I guess we were really busy that week that it was theatrically released. It speaks to a moment for sure, because it's directed by Radu Jude, who's a Romanian filmmaker I really like. It speaks very much to this period in time, but ostensibly it's about a teacher who has a sex tape that is leaked, and she's defending her life in front of the parents of the student body, and people are just nasty and rude and unhappy because they have to have this meeting outside and they're all wearing masks, and it moved me, and it's dark and depressing.
Number 8, mine is Stowaway.
Directed by Joe Penna.
I know Toni Collette's in it. And who else?
Anna Kendrick,
who I don't normally care for, but I liked her in this film. Who's the black man?
I'm forgetting his name. He was just in Bruised with Halle Berry.
Anyway, we have a full review for this one, and people were very upset about this film because the premise is 3 astronauts go up into space to do some testing, and a engineer gets caught in one of the panels, so the ship takes off with this random engineer stuck in it. And of course these sorts of expeditions are very well planned out, so there's a precise amount of oxygen and food, so having this 4th person is not feasible. So the movie is about these 4 people, well, the 3 plus 1, deciding what to do with this stowaway. And I thought it was an excellent sort of case study on different personality types and self-preservation, but people seem really upset about the science of the film, which I find ironic because people don't care about the science of real life things, but then because they're like, well, how could they not know he was in the thing? And I thought this was one of those moments where you have to suspend disbelief.
Well, it's kind of almost like a Twilight Zone episode. Is like you have to put all that aside to focus on what kind of metaphors about human life you're talking about.
The stowaway is just a vehicle for this story about these 4 people and a problem they need to resolve. So yeah, I mean, I also thought how the hell did this man get caught in this spaceship before they shot it into the air? But aside from that, I thought the performances from the 4 principal actors were excellent, and I would recommend it, especially if you don't know much about physics or aerospace engineering, because you won't know the difference about what's stupid about it. Because people had a lot of comments about the oxygen system and all this. I don't know about that, so why would I don't know. But I liked it. Your number 8?
Number 8, Don't Just Think I'll Scream. It's a documentary
about our cat.
Yeah. What? The Screaming Mimi. Directed by Frank Beauvais. It actually premiered in Sidebar at Berlin in 2019, but finally received a theatrical release in early 2021, courtesy of Film Forum. I saw this very recently during various critics' bodies doing voting, and was very taken with it. It's basically Frank Beauvais is this filmmaker who's relating his own experiences in a particular amount of time in 2016 across 4 months, where he watched hundreds of films. He had moved to an isolated area in Alsace, which kind of removed from his own French cultural heritage, and has just been left by his boyfriend, and dealing with depression issues, and kind of mulling over the terrorist attacks that have been happening in France. And all of this narration, all this examination of trauma is set over a very, very well edited string of clips from all of these films he watched in that particular period. And it's beautiful and contemplative, and I highly enjoyed it.
That was a quality moment. Number 7. Mine is Drama Rama.
Directed by Jonathan Wasaki.
This film is set in like the mid 90s. It's a group of high school students having like a final sleepover before graduation, and the bulk of them going off to college. And the focus is on, well, my focus was on one in particular, the queer character whose name I don't recall. We do have a review for this one. But this one really resonated with me, and as I was thinking about my favorites, this one spoke to me a lot because I was also graduating high school in the mid 90s. And I think that main character, really all of the characters and all of the plans they think they've made upon graduating high school, really, it's just interesting thinking about it now as a person in my 40s and how I thought my life would be. And I often think like, oh, I was such a loner, and I still am, and I didn't really have any friends in high school, and how I wish I would have been more social. But then this movie really made me think that these characters have invested so much in these friendships when the reality is they're going to move on. And so I think this film it almost feels like a prequel to adult life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's also set, I believe, in the Inland Empire, which is also where I went to high school.
Is it 1994? I want to say.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
What's your number 7?
My number 7 is Zola, directed by Janixa Bravo. Of course, notoriously based on a viral Twitter thread, and has excellent performances from Riley Keough, Coleman Domingo, and Taylor Page.
And T.S. Madison.
And T.S. Madison. Highly recommended. Did you eventually watch that?
I haven't completed it.
Okay.
I suspect I watched like half of it.
Okay.
And we do have a screener for it, so I will finish it at some point. I did enjoy the half I saw.
Yes, I think it's very surprising and inventive and kind of unlike anything else I saw this year.
Okay, number 6. Mine is The Father.
Which is technically, so, you know, Anthony Hopkins won Best Actor in 2020 for it, but, you know, because of COVID and how the release strategy of things, this technically came out theatrically in early...
Who directed it?
It's the directorial debut of a very notable author and playwright, Florian Zeller.
This was my introduction to Olivia Colman, who I thought was excellent in the film. It's about a man played by Sir Anthony Hopkins who's suffering from Alzheimer's, and we sort of experience... I mean, the story is sort of like a representation of his dementia, because it's kind of hard to follow. It's all over the place. There are 2 actors playing his daughter, who have sort of like, they're sort of interchangeable, and ultimately we find out he's in a nursing home, but we're seeing him in his apartment. It's a complex story. It's very well written. The performances are very strong. Mm-hmm. I think watching Anthony Hopkins play this character was very touching and relatable. Like, I think he did such a good job, like, even for someone like me who doesn't really think about my father as an old man or what I'll do. I connected with this character. So yeah, what's your number 7?
My number
or number 6. What are we on? 6. Go ahead.
Also, number 8, I think I said wrong. It's Just Don't Think I'll Scream.
Okay.
So you have it. Number 6, Quo Vadis Aida, directed by Jasmila Zbanic, which technically premiered at the 2020 Venice Film Festival and had a rollout in early 2021. Very harrowing film about Sarah Brenica, and a phenomenal lead performance. It's very difficult and will ruin your evening after you watch it. But
so will I.
Highly, highly recommended.
Number 5, mine is Suicide Squad.
Directed by James Gunn, who did the Guardians of the Galaxy films.
Okay. Good job, James. I was very surprised by this film. Same. I think I disliked the first Suicide Squad so much, I forgot I even watched it.
It's not good.
But this one, I was so entertained.
Same. And again, what comes back to me after we reviewed it is it has the energy of the original Ghostbusters to me. That kind of transported zany energy that is just like, oh, this is a lot of fun. And there's an emotional component with these unbelievable characters that is really hard to pull off.
Yeah. Number 5 for you.
My number 5 film is called Beginning. It's a Georgian film directed by Dea, and sorry to this woman pronouncing your last name, Kulumbegashvili. It's about a...
It's about the intention. You tried.
It's an excellent... This is Chantal Ackerman level filmmaking here in a debut film. I think played at Toronto and Venice in 2020. Anyway, it's about a group of Jehovah's Witnesses that are attacked. Their church is attacked, and this wife's kind of mental unraveling. It's just beautifully shot and performed, and I can't wait to see what's next from this filmmaker. Just a total, complete surprise.
Number 4, mine is The Power of the Dog.
Directed by the one and only Jane Campion.
That's right. I was very surprised by this film.
Took a lot of goading getting you to watch it.
I did not want to watch it until you told me that there was a queer component, and I was kind of blown away. I like Benedict Cumberbatch enough. I don't like him as Doctor Strange.
No.
But I've liked him in other things I've seen, and I thought he was compelling in this movie. He plays a character who is wanting to connect with this younger boy who is of age, but he's like 18. So there is sort of a gay component, but the boy, the young man, is much smarter than Benedict's character.
Played by Cody Smith-McKee.
So it's a complex story. There's manipulation, but it goes in a direction you wouldn't expect.
Kirsten Dunst is quite good.
She is, yes. So I would highly recommend this one.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Go ahead.
My number 4, The Tragedy of Macbeth, directed by Joel Cohen. Also completely surprised, considering I've seen many versions of this film, played by many notable people. Just the set design, Catherine Hunter as the witches, Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand. I loved this film, and I did get you to watch it, and I know you don't have the same feelings for it, but...
it looks nice.
Oh, it's fantastic. It does reach a certain level of perfection in a constellation of
if you enjoy Shakespeare
productions.
If you enjoy Shakespeare, I think you would enjoy this film.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number 3, mine is Nightmare Alley.
Directed by Guillermo del Toro.
Good old Guillermo. I really enjoyed the original.
Same, and the novel.
I haven't read the novel. So I was interested in seeing this one, and it did not disappoint. Toni Collette is in it, who I like. I like Bradley Cooper.
Cate Blanchett.
I like. There are a lot of really good performances, but I think the story is just...
The changes that Del Toro made with giving Bradley Cooper's character the backstory that Tyrone Power does not have in the original really adds an extra dimension to it that's really powerful. Richard Jenkins as that old... rich man.
Oh, sure. And who plays Toni Collette's husband?
Oh, David Strathairn.
He does a fantastic
He's excellent,
job.
yes. Willem Dafoe.
Oh, and I like Willem, yeah.
Yeah, all of them each kind of have their own moments. And I know I said this in a review of it because I'm not head over heels about Rooney Mara, but even her, who's in the Colleen Gray characters, I forget her name, but even she I thought was really good and kind of touching and in this young innocent, which I was surprised by.
What's your number 3?
Number 3 for me is also Nightmare Alley,
oh,
directed by Guillermo del Toro. Yes, just an excellent film about human darkness. I love this central character but really he's kind of eaten away by these 3 women that are surrounding him.
Oh, yeah.
Cate Blanchett as the doctor. Yeah, just loved it. The score, loved how it looked. This is the kind of studio filmmaking I want to see that we see so little of, and I think that they didn't know how to market it correctly. Anyhow.
Okay, my number 2 is not a film; it's a mini series, but it was a release in 2021. It's Mayor of Easttown,
directed by Craig Zobel,
which was on HBO. Mm-hmm. That shit, we have a review for it. It was riveting.
It was, yeah.
I don't really know Kate Winslet except from the Titanic, so I really didn't know what to think.
Okay.
And from the minute she hops out of that SUV and is going to like a house to do a check, I was like drawn in. There are enough twists and turns that make sense. I think there's enough depth to almost all of the characters to feel satisfying. I think I watched it like in 2
Yeah.
sittings.
Jean Smart is the mother.
Love Jean Smart.
Yeah.
I still need to watch her series about the comedian.
Same.
Yeah.
But it's a testament to how writing and characterization really go a long way.
And I don't know what accent Kate was supposed to have, but whatever she did, it worked really well.
Yeah, I remember people talking about how hard that accent is to pull off.
And then when you find out who the killer is, I thought that scene was so great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's very well written. I think they're talking about a second season.
Oh,
I don't know how they'll pull it off, but yeah.
Number 2.
My number 2 is Passing, directed by Rebecca Hall, which is a directorial debut. I'm a huge fan of the novel that is based on by Nella Larson, which is a Harlem writer from the 1920s. Only wrote 2 novels, that and Quicksand. Somebody needs to make Quicksand into a film. Just Ruth Negga and Tessa Thompson are sublime. This is something that should have competed in Cannes. Instead, it was in competition at Sundance and went home empty-handed. I don't know why. It's riveting filmmaking about colorism. It stays, of course, is set in the period of the 1920s. Both women give just incredible performances, and it's shot beautifully in black and white. I'm so impressed because I went in thinking like, why is Rebecca Hall directing this movie? And I don't know, she had a great year between that and her performance in The Night House. Yeah. And you haven't seen it.
I haven't, no. So I'm maybe had I, maybe it would have made this list, but here we are. My number 1 is also a miniseries, but again, it's my list. The Lady and the Dale.
Directed by Nick Camiller and Zachary Drucker.
It was on Hulu.
Oh, I don't remember now. We had a screener for it.
We have a review for Lady and the Dale. Let me put my phone down. I was so impressed.
The story of Elizabeth Carmichael.
A trans woman, but the book, we know her name because she created this 3-wheel car and sort of did something similar to what Old Girl with Theranos, who just got hemmed up, where she was sort of selling, like allowing people to invest in, there's a name for this and I'm not a financial person, but allowing people to invest in this company and then using the money. So she got in trouble for that. So a big portion of them, half the miniseries is about this car and all the illegal things she was doing in the court trial, which is riveting. The court trial also involves Tucker Carlson's dad, who's a bigger asshole than he is. But that's not the end of the story. The beginning of her story is her transitioning to being female, because she was a stunt queen back then, and all the things she was doing, just a fantastic, I shouldn't say fantastic because she did do illegal things, but what an extraordinary person. And just the tenacity. We had a long conversation about this the other day because I think watching this miniseries and learning about this person really made me think like how nowadays I think people confuse being busy with accomplishing things. Like, just because you spend 10 hours a day playing on TikTok or something doesn't mean that you're like accomplishing much. And then you think like there are people who just set their mind to something and just keep pushing forward, and they can really make such a huge mark. They can change the world. They can get themselves in some big ass trouble. But at the end of the day, like this person accomplished so much. And then we get the privilege of seeing her sort of after she's released from prison and how she spent the end of her days still trying to fight because she was still up to some shifty shit. Right. but I found it inspiring and I would highly recommend it. I think I think she transcends her gender identity. I think she transcends her criminal activity.
Yeah, all of that. It's just a fascinating kind of biopic. And I like how it was shot as well because it had the little cutouts.
Yes. Yeah. It has some really cool features.
But yes, and kind of recuperation of the constant erasure of queer and trans histories between this and My Name is Polly Murray.
Yes.
You know, it's just like knowing that all along there have been all kinds of people doing things,
which
illegal or not.
Which, if you're interested in queer people or queer or trans people of color, I think the Polly Murray documentary is must watch.
Yeah, and that's an autobiography I would love to read. by the way.
What's your number one?
This is no surprise because I said it would be my number one in our review of it, and it was already on your list, is France, directed by Bruno Dumont. Just Seydoux' performance in this. Ever since I saw it at Cannes, where it also received boos, I was gunning for her to maybe get a Best Actress win out of Cannes because she had 4 movies there this year and did not. But just a bravura performance, lots and lots of crying. I think she looks fantastic, even with her.
That hair's a nightmare.
The hair's a nightmare, but I think she's just a beautiful, compelling screen presence. And just Bruno Dumont is a director who I always look forward to anyway. And this was unlike... It is like lots of his other films. You can see his marks in it, but also unlike anything he's ever done. And it is definitely a black comedy about the desensitization of the media and kind of living in that realm. And this woman who kind of comes out on her own and develops some agency, but maybe not really. I don't know. I love it. I could watch it multiple times. I know you couldn't, but there you have it. That's my number one film.
So I know we're a week late with this. We moved into our house a week ago, our new house. So we've been busy with that. But yeah, here's this video. Shout out to the friend who got us these shirts. I thought they were so cute.
They are, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say? Oh, we're going to make a worst of video.
Yes, which it'll be just a combined top 10 because why spread the hate?
Right. And it's just, well, we probably will say hateful things, but it won't be as long as this one. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Bye.
Bye.